Hello and welcome to Money 9 Budget Conclave. And joining with me is Piruz Khambata of Rasna Limited. Piruz sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Sir, if I may ask you, what is your holistic take on this budget? What would it be?
First, congratulations and thank you for inviting me on your show. And I think the budget is a sigh of relief. I'm sure a lot of people are worried about a corona tax. As it is, a corona has killed us. We don't want more taxes to kill us. So I thought it's a good idea. No tax is a good idea. That's why the markets are going up. And as regards the big ticket, I think as the agriculture is concerned, I always believe we need to put more money in infrastructure in agriculture. Because with 15% of the agriculture GDP being agriculture contribute 15% GDP, but 50% people living on agriculture, I think we need to put more money there. That will help the doubling the farmers' income. And how do we increase the doubling the farmer income? I think the whole idea of MSP being at least 50% more than the cost also is a good idea. And I do believe that we need to really make this happen. Now, the problem is that it is not only money. See, the budgets only take care of the money. Now let us look at what else is required. What actually is required is processing. And why processing? Because when you sell, say, any agri product, let us say onion, you are selling it, say, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 30 rupees a kilo. But you can get 300 rupees a kilo if you process it. Similarly, for anything. If some nutraceuticals, in fact, the 1 rupee item you can sell at 1000 rupees if you make it into a nutraceutical. Imagine edible oil, some essential oil or something like that. So processing at primary level to have, let us say, cooperatives, the agriculture himself processing, and I'm not talking big plants, but let us say
So,
small plants at
do
the
you
rural
think,
level will help.
do you think this budget has given a push to agriculture allied activities in a way, which will help improve farmers' income?
Not this budget in particular, but a lot of announcement before the budget, which is the mini budget,
Yes.
has actually helped agriculture. And I do believe that the huge benefit has been given this time to fisheries also. And the fisheries, that itself is also going to help agriculture. And as you know, monies have been given for many items even before the budget, like honey. All that is definitely going to help agriculture. And the second bit which will help agriculture is export of agriculture. Because though we are let us say importing edible oil and pulses, but we can export a lot of rice wheat. And that is the way forward. We need to really make our agriculture export led to make India the food basket of the world, which will, with both of it, processing and export, both requires private sector participation. So I will only try to tell through your channel that in the farm bills are sort of now in some sort of a bin, but at least where there is no dispute, where at least we can get some reforms going by which processing can be helped or export can be helped. At least my
Yes.
personal suggestion is that at least those parts of the bills should
So,
be taken out and should be
so,
action so that at least it
the,
doesn't stuck.
Yes. Like you mentioned, that the MSP is going to be a good news for the farmer, and they are going to get more 50% of income. So, what kind of savings will they be doing on this increased income? And what kind of investment culture or expansion within the farm sector that we can see going ahead?
I believe the farm sector, if it has to grow, the two things are missing, and both have to be done. One is processing. And I have been giving these examples many, many times that if you just sell an onion or if you sell dehydrated onion, there's a huge difference. If you just sell a fruit or you sell a juice or you to sell a juice drink, there's a huge difference. So the farmer has to ensure that he gets into primary processing. I don't expect the farmer to get into the what I call secondary finished products, but he can definitely do primary processing and get a better realization for his crop. The
Yes.
FPCs can be formed, cooperatives can be formed, they can put up what I call processing plants in the agriculture field itself, and probably instead of getting 5 rupees, get more. As you know, as per some very pessimistic estimates, some 30,000 crores of things go perishable every year. 30,000 crores is not a small number every year. I believe it is more than that, maybe a lakh crores. So I think that money would be saved because if you are actually processing it, you are ensuring it stays for a longer time. And number two is export. I think we always have thought that we have to feed ourselves only, and this was possibly historically we wanted to really make for feeding ourselves, but then we are importing also. So at least in certain things where we have surpluses or certain things where we can export to the world, like wheat, rice, pulses, we are plus. Pulses, probably edible oils we are importing, but on many things we are plus. Where we are plus, why are we not having a full-fledged export strategy? With that, we will also ensure that we get some dollars in our hand. The farmers will realize a better price. Now, in both of this, you need a private sector involvement. And I believe that the bills were in the right place. Now, there are certain aspects of this farm bills, too much has been discussed, so I'm not going to discuss that. But only what I'm saying is, on certain things, there has been no dispute. Now, why keep everything in abeyance? At least where there is no dispute, and where the farmer feels it is good for you, at least those parts of the laws can be really going ahead. The reforms can happen so that the farming sector will get the full benefit of all this. Otherwise, what is happening? All this allocation which is going to them, it won't get the benefit if reforms don't happen. So, I definitely believe that
So,
certain things where there is less debate, the reforms can happen.
okay, so now moving away from the farming sector, I want to talk about a very interesting thing that finance minister spoke in the budget speech. That is the investor charter. So, how will it help basically the investors who are in the rural part of India, and how will it help financializing India?
See, first, only rule is not. My understanding of an investor charter is that you tell investors your money is safe. You tell investors that you will play by the rule book. The investors are assured that if they put in money, they will get their returns, and the government will ensure that the legal processes and things are there. So I think it is a very good move, because if at all India has to attract investment, we need a lot of foreign sector investment. And obviously, imagine if I am going to put money in a foreign country, I would be worried. So investor charter number one will help the foreign investors to put in money. Number one. Number two, a lot of Indians have started investing abroad. So I believe they should also be more investing in the country. They should be more bullish about India. And I think the investor charter will put more investment in the country, which is a good idea.
And sir, lastly, if we were to financialize India like the Bharat that we talk about, how should we go about doing that?
See, in my mind, one budgets cannot do that. I just said to somebody, the pandemic was once in a lifetime, but we have this recurring pandemics or endemics, I would say. People sometimes believe reforms are bad for us. And if you ask me, the only way to really take up this country is to grow economy in a very big manner. Let us say we need to become twice or thrice our size of the economy the next few years old. I'm not talking of 10 years or 20 years. Now, only way is reforms. If you have reforms in a major way, if you do privatize in a major way, if you do away with the laws and really foster the entrepreneurship spirit, why is it that young boys from India, 21, they set up companies abroad, and in a few years they become $1 billion in valuation? Do Indians do that in India? Same guys are there, same minds are there. Why? It is the eco culture. So if we don't have that entrepreneurship culture, nothing will happen. Now, if you set up a shop in Singapore and set up, let us say, a webcom company, you have to probably can set up in a week. If you do in India, we will take 2 years. So obviously nobody will like to set up here. So how do we ensure that this whole startup culture starts, entrepreneurship starts, reforms are done in a fast pace, and we don't have pockets. Sometimes somebody does andolan, ye reform band kar do. Some politician says ye band kar do. Then it is like two-step forward, four-step backward. I'll tell you example. We are talking of decriminalization of laws. In 19, they have a consumer protection bill. I have no problem with the consumer protection bill, but even simple things have prosecution. Now, so many laws with prosecution, nobody gets prosecuted. They are only ensuring that
So, so
red
going,
tape is a increase.
so
So how
coming
do
back,
we ensure that all this is not a budget related thing? Your question is
yeah.
nothing to do with money. Your question is the culture has to be investment led, growth led, and to ensure that we really grow up and this whole reform against reform process stops, and we all work towards reform in a major way, because only if economy grows up, employment will be created. In the pandemic, millions of jobs have been lost. We need to get them back. Till we get them back, they will not buy consumer products. They affect FMCG also. If you have joblessness, obviously the people won't spend. If they don't spend, everything is affected. So we have to get the spending cycle back. We have to get the growth cycle back, and that can only happen if business really grows and entrepreneurship comes up. This is
Okay.
my model of it.
Okay. So and so do you think the budget in a way has reinvented, or pushing for this spending, consumer spending, and everything that you were talking about?
See, that's a good question. I'll just answer in two parts. As far as the rural thing is concerned, when money comes in the hands of the farmer, he spends more. A lot of FMCG people depend on rural income to get their growth. Hair oil companies or shampoo companies or even soft drink companies, we benefit. There is no doubt. I think that will happen. As regards urban areas is concerned, I just now mentioned, because of this whole corona business, a lot of jobs have been lost, especially in the cities, and I think we need to find them back. And I think that will only happen once the economy gets back on track, which I do expect maybe in quarter 2, quarter 3 of this year, and then obviously the spending will come. I have not seen any major announcement now to ensure that there is more spending. GST, in my mind, is something which they are not touching in the budget. She has only touched inverted duty structure. That is obvious. There should be no inverted duty structure because otherwise government loses money. So that is to the government. But there are so many products. I'll give you an example. Biscuits at 18%. What is the logic? A dhokla mix at 18% GST. What is the logic? See, if you want to really ensure food processing in a major way in many products, there is no need of an 18% slab. The slab should be either 0, 5, or 12. And let us abolish the 18% slab, and you will collect more money. And in my mind, we need GST rationalization very quickly. This will really enhance that the people because the products become affordable and more consumers buy products.
Okay. And sir, finally, if you were to rate the budget on scale of 1 to 10, what would your?
I thought that is old-fashioned. Nowadays, nobody rates budgets because it is very difficult for anybody to rate a budget, and plus we can't be giving marks to the finance minister. She gives marks to us. So I don't think I would be. But if you ask me, is the budget on expected lines? Are you happy with the budget? I would say yes. And the most happy part is that at least direct taxes, there has not been any major interference with that. And I somehow believe it is a growth oriented budget, and a lot of avenues are there where I think fresh investment has come in. And I think for foreign investors, this is a good time. Like for example, FDI in insurance is a very good news. Ensuring that the investor charter you mentioned is a good news, and I think that is the way forward. We have to be inclusive, and we have to ensure that we somehow make our economy such that the world wants to invest in India. And I think to that extent, this budget has done a good job in ensuring that the world looks at India and invests in India.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining with us, and stay tuned to Money9.com as we dissect the budget 2021 and help you understand it much better. Thank you so much, Mr. Hambate, for joining.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. My pleasure.